Let's get things going here, shall we? And we're going to start off with this. You know, it's not the movie industry if there's not lawsuits going on. You guys remember there was that one lawsuit, I think it's still kind of ongoing, about Top Gun. Because people saying they stole it from an article that somebody wrote. And there's always accusations of plagiarism and, oh, they took this idea from me. And sometimes it's legit, sometimes it's not. Well, as Moana 2 is getting ready to cross the $1 billion mark, it'll happen in the next 48 hours or so. Moana 2 will become the third 2024 film to hit the $1 billion club. By the way, all three of the $1 billion clubs of 2024 are going to be Disney films. But just as Moana 2 is getting ready to join that $1 billion club, a new lawsuit is out by a guy claiming that 20 years ago, he came up with the idea and Disney stole it. Maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. This comes to us from Entertainment Weekly, who wrote the following. In a lawsuit reviewed by Entertainment Weekly that was filed Friday, animator Buck Woodall claims that former Mandeville Films development director Jenny Marchik violated his copyright by secretly passing to Disney materials he produced confidentially for her 2 decades ago. That material, Woodall alleges, became Moana and Moana 2. A court ruling last November prevented Woodall from bringing an identical suit against the original 2016 Moana film because the filings would have come too late. Though Woodall's suit filed on Friday contains numerous allegations about the first film Moana film, the substance of his argument focuses on the sequel released in November 2024. Now, Woodall alleges that fraudulent enterprise that encompassed the theft, misappropriation, and extensive exploitations of Woodall's copyright materials, shepherded by Marchik, who is now, remember she was the head of some other studio?
Right.
She is now the head of development at DreamWorks Animation. Mandeville Films had a first look deal with Disney, as well as offices on the Burbank, California Disney lot at the time of Marchik's dealings with Woodall. Okay. Now, in the article, they go on to describe and say, hey, I had an island girl going on a journey on a wayfarer boat, that there were, deities that took the form of different animals, a fire island, stuff like that. Now, listen, I have not seen everything. He said he had a completed script, art, he had storyboards, all that kind of stuff, and he thinks it's just a little bit too much like Moana. So he's alleging Disney stole it. Now, look, for all we know, the trial will show that there's going to be like records of her taking all that stuff and sneaking over to Disney and giving them all this Moana stuff. And that Disney said, this is brilliant. We'll wait 13 years before we make it into a movie so nobody will suspect anything. And listen, again, I'm not saying that the allegations are false. I'm just saying that, we've seen these things and sometimes there's been something to it and sometimes there haven't. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, CookUnity. You ever feel like so much of your day revolves around planning meals or preparing food, especially when you're trying to eat healthier? I know we all do, but that all changes when you discover CookUnity. Now you can enjoy vibrant, chef-crafted meals without spending hours in the kitchen. It's freed up so much of my time and energy to focus on my other goals. CookUnity partners with award-winning chefs, the same chefs you see on TV and those 5-star restaurants, to create small batch meals just for you. These meals are made with fresh, local, in-season ingredients delivered right to your door. And here's the best part. They arrive fresh, not frozen, and all it takes is a few minutes to heat them up. I recently tried their Mom's Sunday Sauce Rigatoni, and it was incredible. Plus, knowing that I'm supporting local chefs and sustainable suppliers makes every bite even better. Whether you want variety, convenience, or just better food, CookUnity has it all. Reset your routine with convenient, mouth-watering meals crafted with local ingredients by award-winning chefs. Go to cookunity.com/Campea or enter the code Campea before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using the code Campea or by going to cookunity.com/Campea. Now, the reason this is so interesting to me is this comes up a lot. I don't know why, guys, but I constantly, and this is where the basis of that joke with Rob about send Rob your scripts keeps coming up. I get people all the time, emailing me
Unsolicited scripts.
Well, not necessarily sending me scripts,
Yeah.
but saying, hey, John, I wrote a script, which, number one, if you did, that's awesome. Good for you. I think that's great. I wrote a script. Who do I send it to get it made into a movie?
Robert Meyer Burnett.
Aside from Rob,
I always told you.
I always have to give them the bad news.
Yeah.
There's nobody you can send it to because studios do not take unsolicited material. And the reason they do not even accept you sending them a script is because we don't want to make a movie 15 years from now. And then you say, oh, this is kind of similar to a script I sent you in 1983, and then be able to sell. So that's why they say, no, we don't even accept the scripts. We don't even accept them. We won't even give you a mailing address to send them to us. Because we don't want to have to say in court, we promise we didn't read it. We want to say we never received anything because we don't accept scripts. So
plausible deniability.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they simply don't accept scripts. And as an example of why I think this comes up a lot, because listen, there are only so many ideas. People come up with similar ideas.
Right.
For example, Disney put out a fabulous little animated film last year or 2 years ago. I can't remember how long ago it was now, called Elemental.
Mm-hmm.
That movie is fantastic. And even though it started very slow at the box office, everybody said, oh, this is going to be a flop. It had legs and it went on to make over $500 million, I think. Can't remember exactly. Ray, look at how much money did Elemental actually made up. But here's the thing. The reason I bring up Elemental is because a few years ago, my wife, Ann Campea,
it's $496.
made $490, so about $500 million. My wife, Ann Campea, who at the time was a bigwig over at Hasbro, she put together something very similar. She put together a pitch and a script for an idea, and this was it. This is what she sent them. Campea Films, not John Campea, Ann Campea. Now, this is the little sizzle that she gave to Hasbro, remember. This was her pitch. She already came up with the art, the ideas, the story, and it was called The Elements of Alara, where basically there's 4 different races. They're all elements. There's even a romance in one of them. There's underlying things of like racism, stuff like that, even the immigrant experience between the different, these are the characters she created. And all that kind of stuff was in there. And now, granted, this wasn't a rom-com. It was more of an action epic sort of thing. And, so she made all this thing. Now, this was years before Elemental ever came out, right? And we would laugh about it because we saw when Elemental was coming out, Disney got a hold of this from Hasbro and decided to make Elemental out of it. But we know they didn't. It was just like the idea, okay, like, by the way, I don't think we're the first people in the world to come up with an idea of characters based on the elements. Hell, even Avatar, to a degree, something like that, where people have different elemental powers and stuff, right?
I think this is probably a little closer to Cones of Dunshire, what Anne was making.
The Cones of Dunshire. Little shout out there to any of you who know Parks and Rec. The greatest game never played. So look, I mean, yeah, we could have gone, well, somehow Disney stole this. Well, no, we know they didn't. So that's fine.
So you don't think this lawsuit's going to get anywhere?
Well, here's the thing. I have not seen the script in question.
Right.
I have not seen, because listen, he says part of the whole package that he created included a script, character breakdowns, concept art, storyboards, the whole bit. Listen, if in this court case and in this trial, they pull out a storyboard where this giant Maui character who carries around a giant hook and turns into an eagle and stuff like that. I mean, listen, there may be credibility to this. If he can prove through a paper trail that this former executive actually did take his stuff and then sneaked it over to Disney, because that he gave this stuff to this executive is not in question. He did. But he's alleging she then took it and snuck it over to Disney and gave it to them. Mm-hmm. Now, and if there's a paper trail to prove that, then there is something to it. I'm just saying, for a lot of these types of situations where it's, hey, that's very similar to something I created before, that might be true, but it doesn't mean they took it. It might have just mean somebody else came up with a similar idea.
Now, we'll let's say the evidence is, pretty good. With the amount of time that he waited to bring this lawsuit forward, would that affect his
Well,
case?
like it said in the story,
Right.
he tried to bring a lawsuit against the first Moana that came out in 2016,
Oh, I'm sorry,
and they
I
said it's too late. But Moana 2 just
Oh,
came
I
out.
got.
So he's bringing the lawsuit based on
Okay,
Moana 2,
Totally missed that part.
right?
Right.
So, as somebody in the live chat said, he can't sue Disney. He signed up to Disney Plus. Little callback. Of course, that is a loophole that's been closed. But anyway, so I don't know. I mean, listen, all I know is this. Why would Disney create, and by the way, he's suing them for $250 million. $250 million. I just don't know why, if Disney did see this story idea, and if they liked it, number one, why they would wait a decade to make it. Or number two, it would have just been way easier for them to go, oh, who wrote this? This guy? Hey, dude, we'll give you $100,000. We want the rights to this. And he would have sold it like that. Like it just strikes me that it would be far easier
To just
and
buy it.
far less headaches for Disney
Yeah.
and so much more simple to just, oh, who's the guy who did it? This guy? Hey, we want to cut you a check. And, guys like that, they're not going to, you don't know if Moana is going to be a hit or not, right? So you probably set it for $100,000, $200,000. Great. Now we have no headaches. Now we have no worries. All simple, all tied up. Great. I don't know why Disney would engage in some elaborate plot to do it. But again, I'm not saying this guy is wrong. I haven't seen the evidence. Maybe the evidence points that he's right. I have to admit, I do approach these types of lawsuits with a little bit of dubiousness.
Maybe he did ask for $250 million, and they're like, no,
Maybe he's straight up after
We're just gonna
$250
steal
million.
it from you. We'll just steal it from you.
Yeah. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see how this turns into much ado about nothing. But hey, if he's got the evidence, and we'll find if they do. I'm just saying, if it turns out that the evidence is coincidence, if he says, look, Judge, this sounds a lot like what I did. Well, that's not proof that somebody engaged in a criminal enterprise to steal your stuff, take it over somewhere, and then Disney knowingly took stolen material and developed it without ever wanting to compensate the creator. It's going to be tough, but we'll have to see what the evidence points to.
He's like, I even brought in The Rock to do
Even
the voice
Dwayne Johnson,
for the
yep.
samples.
This guy talked to me 20 years ago. I said, damn it, we should take this to Disney. Like maybe The Rock is a star witness. I don't know. Hey, guys, whatever you think about this whole thing, jump on down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.